Welcome back to the Kudlow Report. I'm Larry Kudlow. All right, Mitt Romney won Florida by a landslide, but the bigger news came in last night's victory speech. Is Romney now going to go tough on spending cuts to attract Tea Party and other conservative support? Listen to what he told the crowd last evening.
President Obama wants to grow government and continue to amass trillion-dollar deficits. I will not just slow the growth of government, I will cut the spending of government. I will not just freeze government share of the total economy, I will reduce it. And without raising taxes, I will finally get America to a balanced budget.
All right, big emphasis on spending and shrinking government. We're going to get to our distinguished panel. We have Steve Forbes, Tad Devine, and Mark McKinnon waiting in the wings just a few moments. But first, let me go to a man who knows, Kevin Madden, an advisor to Mitt Romney. Kevin, as always, you know, it's 65% of the Republicans voting, according to the exit poll, 65% Tea Party. Now, Mitt won that, but it was close, 41-37. On the so-called very conservative, which was a third, 33%, Gingrich won that 41. The thought I had was that Mitt mentioned tough spending cuts and deficits and debt more emphatically last night in order to reach out and try to unify his Big Ten and bring conservatives in. Is that a fair assumption?
He was emphatic last night, but, Larry, he's been very emphatic about this during the whole entire course of his campaign. You know, that's one of the things that's really, those are the issues that are really animating a lot of these core conservative voters. They look at the way Washington reacted to an economic slowdown, and they've rejected it. They rejected it in 2010. They saw a Congress and a president that decided to open the spigot on federal spending, and that goes exactly against what they think the government needed to be doing. That the government needed to put more of its faith back in the American public in order to create jobs rather than putting its faith in government spending. So I think as we go through this campaign, that's going to be a really important issue for conservatives, but it's also going to be a very important issue for independents. When we saw 2010 independent voters align with Republicans, right, it was because they rejected the same spending and the same deficit policies that we saw coming out of the Obama administration of the Democrats.
Okay, but I hadn't heard Mitt talk in these terms in quite a while. He put out a pretty good white paper last fall. He wants to get government down to 20%, government spending down to 20% of GDP. $500 billion of cuts, I believe, by 2015. Right. And he has a good Medicare reform plan that's now a lot like Paul Ryan. In fact, let me just ask you about the Paul Ryan connection. I know those two talk. Ryan, a leading light in the Congress. Might Mitt essentially throw in with Paul Ryan's new budget, which will be very tough on spending, probably $6 to $7 trillion below the current services baseline. Is that a possibility to kind of unite the whole Republican Party?
Yeah, look, I think the principles that that Congressman Ryan espoused are very strong principles as related to fiscal conservatism. And I think Governor Romney, as he's continued to go out and any voters throughout this campaign, I mean, I think he's talked about the very same principles. Now, I think the details are, may be different, but Governor Romney does believe that if we have these type of reforms on the entitlement side, and that if we make taxes fairer, flatter, and broaden the base, that we're going to have the economic development, the economic growth that we need, and that's going to help create jobs.
Just on that point, on that tax point, last one for you, Kevin. We appreciate your time as always. Grover Norquist has said that Governor Romney should essentially take Paul Ryan's tax reform plan, which is two brackets, 10% and 25%, get rid of the deductions and the flotsam and jetsam, and take the corporate tax down to 25%. Might Governor Romney actually look at the Paul Ryan plan as a model for his phase 2 tax reform that he told me he was working on?
Yeah, so there you said it. You do this to me every time, and you did it to the governor. You're trying to get us to break news on your show. But I think, look, the governor did say this in his interview with you last week, that he's going to take a look at proposals like the Ryan plan. A lot of the principles that you found in the Simpson-Bowles recommendations, and all of them are consistent with the idea of making sure that the tax code is flatter, fair, broaden the base in order to get economic development. So I think as part of this campaign, as we progress through it, you're going to see a lot more proposals from the governor related to on that particular topic.
All right. Thank you. Kevin Madden, we appreciate it, as always. Now, Florida.